I'm the Vice President of Children and Families for the Center for Human Development. I'm here today to recognize Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we're doing a flag-raising event here at City Hall in collaboration with the City office here and other providers here in the community, Square One, Holyoke Chickadee Springfield, Head Start, Martin Luther King Family Center, and Dara Center, and a host of other community agencies, again to recognize Child Abuse Prevention Month. This is our 6th year doing this particular event here at City Hall, and we're really pleased to have the mayor, who is in complete support of this event, come and join us. So it's been an outstanding 6 years to have the mayor's office, as well as other providers, business leaders, other community members come and join and recognize Child Abuse Prevention Month. Well, it all got started, it's sort of driven by an initiative that's a national initiative through Child Welfare League of America. And it's really to recognize the over 3 million reports of abuse across this country. And so we as a community want to be a part of, eradicating child abuse in our community.
Thank you all for coming out on this cold, dreary morning. And we'll try to move along quickly. I know you guys have to get back to your coloring and singing and learning and all kinds of things. So thank you very much for being here. CHD is very proud to sponsor this event once again. And this is such an important event for us. And we feel so good about it. I want to thank Mayor Sarno and Joan Kagan for coming out and helping us with this. And the mayor has been here every year since the beginning, of this event. And I want to thank him so much for that. I attend meetings regularly in which, we constantly talk about the cost of healthcare, the cost of education, the cost of fighting crime. It's sort of the focus of pretty much everything we do and everything we talk about. Well, what could be a better answer to all of these problems than healthy children? Healthy physically, healthy emotionally. And, to me, healthy children turns all of that around. So how do we get there? What is the cause of so much difficulty that our children have? What's the cause of all of the trauma that exists with our children? And how do we reverse it? Research sponsored by the American Humane Association, data collected by the National Child Abuse and Neglect System, tells us that child abuse, the causes of child abuse, center around a small number of problems. And they speculate that those problems are lack of preparation or knowledge of the demands of parenting from young parents, lack of understanding of their children's developmental stages, and the holding of unreasonable expectations, unawareness of effective discipline alternatives to corporal punishment. Many of these young parents especially lack knowledge of the hygiene and nutritional needs of their children. Some have difficulty controlling their anger. And, of course, mental health and substance abuse problems and the financial stress of housing problems. Well, these are all problems that we can address. These are things that we're working on. These are things that we're pounding away at. CHD and other agencies like Square One address them formally. But we can all address them by talking about them to everyone, supporting the agencies that deliver prevention services related to these problems, by being on the lookout for signs of abuse and neglect and reporting it early so that treatment and support services can begin early. So let's all work together in shining a light on this awful problem that plagues our society. If we focus our energy on supporting young parents and educating children, we can make things better. So let's turn this massive plague around. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Jim. We really appreciate those words. I'm going to put our young people on the spot because what today is all about is the youth and our children that are all here today. And each year we typically have the students from Square One and William Chickadee Springfield Head Start, they sing a song. So I don't know if they're prepared to sing a song today of some sort, but if they are, I'd love if they can participate in today's event. So I don't know if you have a song that you can sing for today.
John, for that very kind introduction. I appreciate it. And congratulations. Job well done, boys and girls. You did an excellent job. You've got beautiful voices. And the mayor was right behind you singing along with you. So it really inspired him. So thank you. April, we are here to acknowledge that April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. Today, as a community, when we raise the Children's Memorial Flag, we also raise the awareness of the role each of us can and must play in preventing harm to our children. The flag, through its simple design of paper doll-like figure features at its center a white chalk outline of a missing child. This is meant to honor each child we have lost to violence. As the flag flies high over our community, it should serve as a visual reminder of just how critical it is for all of us to participate in protecting the lives of our community's most vulnerable and youngest citizens, our children. So what can we individually and as a community do to prevent abuse? For one, we can learn and understand the risk factors of abuse. Jim Goodwin gave us a few examples, and I'm going to sort of expand on them a little bit. Studies have shown that children whose parents abuse alcohol and other drugs were 3 times more likely to be abused and more than 4 times more likely to be neglected. After alcohol and drug abuse, one of the biggest risk factors for abuse and neglect is social isolation. Parents feeling alone, without support, and with no one to bail them out when they are stressed and distressed. Other contributing factors include poverty, unemployment, lack of education, family and community violence, mental health problems, generational abuse and neglect in the family, and lack of understanding of children's developmental needs. Risk factors can also include things like a negative reaction to a physical and/or character trait of a child. And finally, children most at risk in our community are those under the age of 4 and 5 before they enter school. Why? Because there are no eyes on them. If they are not in a preschool program like Square One or Head Start, or in a school setting, teachers, professionals, and other adults may be able to pick up signs of potential abuse or of current abuse. Examples may be a parent distressed because they cannot afford to put food on their table, a depressed parent, a parent who appears drunk or high, a child with a black eye, or suffering from sleep deprivation due to being physically or sexually abused at night. Child abuse and neglect is also very expensive in terms of dollars and cents, not to mention the emotional and physical toll it takes on children. The estimated annual cost nationally of child abuse is more than $124 billion. That's $124 billion. Think what that money could do in other services. Research shows that investing in child abuse programs including parent education classes, safety programs designed to make children less vulnerable to predators and other abusers, and home visitation programs yields a 19-to-1 savings. And the savings are in the child welfare system, the mental health, substance abuse, and criminal justice system, and in special education programs. For instance, children who experience abuse are 9 times more likely to become involved in criminal activity. More than 2/3 of the people treated for drug abuse reported being abused or neglected as a child. 27% of children who are abused and neglected become delinquents as compared to 17% of children in the general population. So here's another sad fact, and this one is much closer to home. Every 13 minutes in Massachusetts, a child is abused or neglected. Every day, a child will die before his or her first birthday. Sadly, this past weekend, we learned of the death of a 4-week-old earlier this month and of a 6-week-old this weekend. At a time in their lives when children should be having the time of their lives, they are enduring these life-endangering situations and circumstances. For most of these children, the pain and emotional scars will remain long after the bones have mended and the cuts and bruises have disappeared. Children are born with innocence. They enter this world with a pure heart and soul. Their family is their world. Children look to the adults in their lives to care for them, protect them from harm, and provide them with love, guidance, and affection. Children deserve to grow up free of pain, free of fear, free to be a child. We, the community, have a moral imperative to help prevent child abuse and neglect and keep our children safe. It is the just and humane thing to do as a member of a civilized society. Working together, we have the ability to positively impact the safety and well-being of all our children, while also strengthening and promoting healthy families to care for them. Prevention of child abuse and neglect requires public education and a commitment from all of us to provide the emotional and social supports needed to raise their children free from harm. There are many action steps that all of us can take, and some of them are written on the back of our program. And I'm just going to add a few more that we as a community need to do. Again, it's the just and right thing for us to do as a society. First, take action. Don't wait for someone else to do it. Report suspected child abuse and neglect. If you see it or sense it, call your local law enforcement agency. If your child is being neglected, abused, physically, emotionally, and other ways, call that in. Children are hardly ever abused, only once. If you suspect it, you need to report it. Be a friend to a parent. Listening sometimes just helps someone to express their anger and frustration and eases their tension. Learn about child abuse and prevention programs and educate others around you. Fly your own flag. Every day, remain vigilant beyond today to ensure that a child's tomorrow is filled with giggles, laughter, and love. And finally, support organizations like CHD and Square One and Head Start, which offer parent education classes, safety programs designed to make children less vulnerable targets for abuse, and home visitation services. I'm going to end with a Chinese parable that I heard, that I read several years ago, and I think that it means a lot to me, and I think it's significant for today. One day, an elephant saw a hummingbird lying on its back with its tiny feet up in the air. "What are you doing?" said the elephant. The hummingbird replied, "I heard the sky might fall today, and so I'm ready to help hold it up should it fall." The elephant laughed cruelly. "Do you really think," he said, "that they'll hold up the sky?" The hummingbird kept his feet up in the air, intent on his purpose, as he replied, "Not alone, but each must do what he can, and this is what I can do." So I ask you, what can you do to keep our children safe from harm? Thank you.
We have another person who's going to speak before we have our mayor come up and deliver the proclamation. It's a young man named Kevin, who is a participant in the CHD program, so we have him come up and
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kevin Lopez, and I'm going to be reading a prayer for the children. We pray for the children who sneak popsicles before supper, who erase holes in math workbooks, who can never find their shoes. And we pray for those who stare at photographers behind barbed wire, who can't bound down the street in a new pair of sneakers, who never counted potatoes, who were born in places where we wouldn't be caught dead, who never go to the circus, who live in an X-rated world. We pray for the children who bring us sticky kisses and fistfuls of dandelions, who hug us in a hurry and forget their lunch money. We pray for those who never get dessert, who have no safe blanket to drag behind them, who watch their parents watch them die, who can't find bread to steal, who don't have rooms to clean up, whose pictures aren't on anybody's dresser, whose monsters are real. We pray for the children who spend their allowance before Tuesday, who throw tantrums in the grocery store and pick at their food, who likes ghost stories, who shove dirty clothes under the bed, who get visits from the tooth fairy, who don't like to be kissed in front of the carpool, who squirm in church and scream on the phone, whose tears we sometimes laugh at and whose smiles can make us cry. And we pray for those whose nightmares come in the daytime, who will eat anything, who have never seen a dentist, who will go to bed hungry and cry themselves to sleep, who live and move but have no being. We pray for the children who want to be carried and for those who must. We will never give up on those and who don't get a second chance. We pray for those mother and for those who will grab the hand of anybody kind enough to offer.
Kevin may be CHD's next president after Jim retires, after what a wonderful job he just did. The next person that we're going to have come is a person that I've known for a number of years. I won't tell you how many years, but we actually went to high school together. And he's been the same person since I've known him, I would say some time ago. He's always been someone who's been very caring, particularly caring about others. I've watched him as he's moved up the ladder throughout his career. I remember the days when he was the executive director of the South End Community Center and all the hard work he did on behalf of the youth in our community. So I think we are certainly honored to have such a dynamic mayor for the city of Springfield. So I'd like to introduce the Honorable Mayor, Dominic Sarver.
John Roberson was a slick ball handling guard for the championship high school of commerce basketball team, and he can still take it to the hall. And John, your leadership not only on the court those days, but now off the court is deeply appreciated. Jim, Mr. Goodwin, to the always GQ dressed Joan Kagan, and the Square One team, and I know Janice Santos and the Head Start team, thank you. We're also joined by friend and colleague, our City Councilor Tim Rook is also here. Tim, good to see you. Kevin Lopez, good job, young man, good job, good job. And I know we had the little kids that were here and they were singing that, and I said to Joan, I'm glad they only went one verse, but I only know that one verse. But I'm glad that each and every one of you young men are here, because someday you'll become fathers. And it's important that you continue to learn these lessons as you bring up your children. It still amazes me how someone could abuse a child with those eyes looking up at you, yearning to learn, looking for nurturing and love and care. I don't know what type of monster can do that. But I thank each and every one of you who are the ambassadors out there on the street. And sometimes those are tough calls. Those are tough calls. But you do it with your head, your heart, your gut, to save those little ones, to give them an opportunity for a better life. And I know many times you just cannot leave that work at home. You take it into your own home. So I thank you for your continued efforts. Now we have an official proclamation. Whereas in 1983, Congress declared April to be National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Since that time, communities across the country have taken the opportunity to raise awareness of issues surrounding child maltreatment and abuse through proclamations, ceremonies, educational forums, tributes, candlelight vigils, and today we'll do a flag raising. Whereas April is the time to look back and to acknowledge that children who have suffered and who the losses sustained throughout our communities because of the suffering. But it's also time to look forward, most of all, to the time when children no longer have to live in fear, child abuse, and neglect. It is a complex and ongoing problem which Joan and Jim elaborated on in our society, affecting many children in the city of Springfield. And whereas the city of Springfield has dedicated individuals and organizations who work daily to counter the problem of child maltreatment, to help parents obtain the assistance they need. Our communities are stronger when all citizens become aware of child maltreatment prevention and become involved in supporting programs to raise their children in a safe and nurturing environment. And whereas effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because of partnerships among the families, social service agencies, schools, religious, civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. And whereas all citizens, community agencies, faith organizations, and businesses will work to increase their efforts to support families. Now, therefore, I, Dominic J. Sarno, Mayor of the City of Springfield, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2014 as Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month in the City of Springfield. And I urge all our citizens to be aware of this, and more importantly, to take care of your family and be aware if you do see a child that you feel is being mistreated. God bless you all, and good health to all our little ones. Thank you so much.
So we're going to close the event, and shortly we're going to go outside. We're going to wrap up the event with the actual flag raising. But I want to just recognize a few people that were helpful and responsible for today's event. Certainly want to recognize Daryl Moss with the Mayor's Office for all your help and support. Representative Office at CHD, Vanessa Lima, Julia Sorensen for helping us support. Nicole Blaze, who's over to my left, she's been helping every year. For the past 6 years, she's helped put this together. I saw her here earlier today, but she's been very helpful see a bunch of our program directors from CHD here in the back. I want to thank them for their support, and the young people that came out today, and everyone who came out today. I just want to thank you all for making today's event a special event. So I want you all to join us all to come outside, let's raise the flag, and that'll culminate today's event. So thank you.